right, good evening, world. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Pops. I'm your host. My name is Gerald President, aka Pops, and this is my firstborn. His name is.
I'm Cedric President, aka Pretty Ricky, and we're here in sunny Florida together, and it's a beautiful time because it's a family affair. It's 4th of July weekend. I was able to come down to sunny Florida, Orlando, spend time with all the siblings, little brother and little sister, and pops, and my stepmom. And it's just been a beautiful time. So, how do you feel, Pops?
Hey, man, I feel good on this supposed festive day on July 4th, and we're supposed to be celebrating our independence or this nation's independence, and it's sort of a lukewarm feeling because I know on July 4th in 1776, my ancestors weren't free. And I don't know how can we be celebrating or even attempt to try to celebrate a day that is not designed for us. So I'm okay. It's just, it just gives me a funny feeling on celebrating this day. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I understand that part. And, we had a conversation about Juneteenth.
Correct, which was our last episode.
Mm-hmm. And now it's 4th of July. And one of the biggest things for me is like just being here is the importance of, I'll say, like Black fatherhood. Fatherhood is a big thing. And as you were saying before, when it comes to our ancestors being enslaved at this time, we wasn't free.
Correct.
But, white America was able to, they got their independence from, the Queen of England?
Yes, they was able to wrestle with the assistance of our ancestors to gain their so-called freedom from the settler colony project. Now, at the same time, they was continuously putting their foot in our butts, and it wasn't for until another, I would say, close to 100 years in 1865 when our ancestors were able to at least taste a little bit of what they called freedom in this supposed great land.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Lincoln fatherhood and talking about 4th of July is great being a father, but I just can only imagine what it was like to be a father in July 4th, 1776.
Yeah.
And
because we talking about Black fatherhood and, being a descendant of slaves. Because, Pops, obviously you're a father. I'm not a father as of yet. And for me, I want to just express my gratitude for you being my father, and giving me all the wisdom that you've given me over the years and continue to give me. But what's the importance of Black men being fathers in their son's life, and also their daughter's lives? Because you have 2 sons and a daughter.
correct.
So, speaking, like, what's some advice that you would give me, and just also what's some of the things that you'll tell the world when it comes to now being able to be a father? Because that was things that was denied from us in slavery.
Right.
That they'll
Right.
they'll break up the household. They'll send the son off to a whole nother family.
True.
And so now the father is not even able to raise their child, and now the mother sometimes has to raise the slave master's children.
Correct.
And breastfeed them, and can't even do it to their own. They ship their own child, that child off somewhere else. So explain how it feels to now have the freedom to be able to raise your child, even though, and we can go into the legal system a little later and stuff, but just what's the joys that you've found so far in raising?
Wow. Let's see. The first joy is when you first get that phone call to say that I'm pregnant. The second thing is now you realize it's not you no more. And that's the reality that sets in on, I would say 99 or 100% of all fathers who want to be fathers. And the third is, okay, now it's time for me to buckle down and to try to figure out how to plot the perfect course so my children can be more successful than me.
Yes, sir.
That's what I've always focused on trying to do, is to try to give you guys that wisdom to be able to manipulate this system to where you don't allow white supremacy to hold you back, but you know that white supremacy is there. Those are the difficulties of raising specifically black boys in this wretched nation. Now, raising a daughter, it throws in a whole nother layer, because first you're bringing up a young black woman. Secondly, she's being brought up in a system that doesn't, how shall I say it, have a need for her existence, but they have a need to steal from her presence, her aesthetics, and I'm talking about her body makeup, her looks and everything. They want what she has. They want what all these black women have.
Yes, sir.
And they can't have it. Now, as far as being a daddy in the 21st century under this wretched system compared to our ancestors during that time, well, you couldn't be a daddy. And I think about that more than anything, considering that I'm coming from a situation where, in a background where I don't know my biological. I didn't know my biological. And I found out who my biological was when I was 14. So when you have that in your back of your mind, it makes you want to be a daddy even more.
Yes, sir.
To know that your biological didn't want anything to do with you.
Yes,
and
sir.
that another man took it upon himself to raise you. And that's why I'm more, I kind of said, I'm more, I have more of a connection with a man who wasn't and doesn't have my DNA than the man who I met who had my DNA. Because the man who was there with me was there from day one.
Yes, sir.
And he never treated me any differently. And he treated me like I was one of his own. And that, another thing that comes into during our pathway in this nation coming on Independence Day, thinking that my great-great-granddaddy probably 9 times 10 had to raise children that wasn't his, and knew that he couldn't be a daddy, and knew that he couldn't show emotion. And those are the things that I take from it, is that I would be able to give you guys how to be emotional, but also be intelligent and knowing how to navigate this.
Yes, sir.
Because you have to be both. You have to be able to tell your kids you love them, but you also have to be able to discipline at the same time. And that's one thing I've noticed. What's inside of our DNA is we don't know how to say I love you.
Yes, sir.
And I made it a point with you, with your brothers, I love you and I kissed you. And I always kiss you guys because I want you to know it's okay.
Yes,
because
sir.
I knew that through our history and through the conversations I had with my daddy and the conversations and the books that I've read, I knew that we weren't allowed to show emotion. We weren't allowed to hug because it was illegal.
Yes, sir.
And so I think about that all the time. And that's why I say, so if you look at all my pictures with you, and when I'm always kissing you guys. I was kissing you guys when you was a kid. I always kissed you guys.
Yes, sir.
And I always hugged you and I always said, I love you, because I knew in my DNA, I'm programmed not to do that.
So you made it a conscious effort to do it.
I made it a conscious effort because I knew it was illegal for two black men to congregate around each other. And I knew that black men, descendants of slaves in this nation, couldn't be daddies.
Yes, sir.
And when I see anybody having anything to say about black men, I have a real problem with that, because it's like these people in this nation don't comprehend what we actually went through.
Yes, sir.
And I know people say, oh, man, people making excuses. And it's not an excuse. Our grandparents weren't allowed, and our great-grandparents weren't allowed to be daddies.
Yeah.
Just think about it. They weren't allowed to be daddies. And so they had to be different. So a lot of them left their homes because they could not be a man. But it goes back to when these Europeans came and grabbed us. You couldn't be a man. And so it's the reason why so many black men are connected to their mamas. Because on the plantations, only the mama can show love. You understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Only a mama can show love. So on the 4th of July, when I'm thinking about our independence, I know we weren't, and we still aren't independent.
Yes, sir.
We might think we are. And as far as the aspect when you brought up, you said we're talking about the legal system. The legal system intertwines with everything with us in this nation because they've always used the legal system to maintain its hold on us.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So even during the time when they fight for their independence in 1776 and they got their so-called title and they deed to maintain control of this settler colony, they still made it a point to codify in the legal system that we could be a person. Got to
Yes,
remember,
sir.
during the same time, 1776, our grandparents and our grandfathers and our great-granddaddies were human property.
Mm-hmm.
They were property. And so to tie that in with the legal system is fathers who are trying to be involved in their children's lives. The same legal system that was set up on their backs are that same legal system that will hold them back from being fathers. Which is why they throw child support on you and they don't give you visitation rights. And you have to go out on your own to get your own visitation rights through the court system, which is separate from child support. So this nation has had a very, very, how should I say it, complicated path and past when it comes to allowing and letting black men be fathers. And I know some people gonna say, "Oh man, they're not letting us. They're not stopping us from being daddies now." Yes, they are,
Yeah.
because this system elevated black women over black men.
Yes, sir.
So on those plantations, Big Mama ran everything. Daddy couldn't say nothing. The man couldn't say nothing because he knew that the master can ship him off anytime and his children anytime. And he knew that if he congregated around another black man, he could be killed because they thinking that we're going to try to have a revolt, which we did.
Yes, sir.
Over and over. This nation was filled with black revolts.
Yes, sir.
But to go into this 21st century and knowing that I have an adult son and I have a teenage daughter and I have a 7-year-old son, it is fascinating and I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love being able to see the maturation.
Yes, sir.
To see how you guys evolved. That's the beautiful thing about being a father on this part of the planet. But I love being a daddy, man. I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I wish more men wanted to be daddies.
Yeah.
To be able to sit down and have these kind of conversations, because I can just remember when you was 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
I remember you're 13. Now here you are, a grown-ass man.
Yes, sir.
And that's the beautiful thing about being able to witness it. But also understanding the perils. That as soon as you walk out this door, you're not my son. You're a black man.
Yes, sir.
You know, and in the eyes of the slave patrols, you might just be a fugitive, a runaway slave, even though you're an American citizen. That's what bothers me more than anything. So it's all of those things.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking about, wow, I see why my daddy was the way he was. I see why my mama the way they were.
Yeah.
I remember those conversations about when I turned 12 and 13 and how to handle myself when I came in contact with slave patrols. I knew, because my daddy told me something I had to tell you.
Yes, sir.
And those are the things. It's like we walk on eggshells in America being daddies. And we know when we encounter these slave patrols or when we encounter the everyday white supremacist nature of this nation, we know we have to be more than one person.
Yes, sir.
And those are the things that you realize, you're like, wow. So it goes back to when I was talking about 1776 and this independence and knowing that during that time we couldn't be fathers. And then myself with you fight for my custody for you and dealing again with a white supremacist system. It's that same thing. It's intertwined. It's intertwined with this nation. Independence and barbarity. Independence and savagery. Independence and incarceration. Independence and debauchery. This nation is littered and filled with it, and it has not changed.
No.
On the surface, it looks like it's so pristine and everything is okay, but no, it's very difficult and it's hard to be a daddy, and it's great at the same time.
Yes, sir.
But
go ahead.
no, it's just beautiful that I've been able to live to have this kind of conversation that I dreamt about in my dreams when I was a kid. That when I finally had a child,
Yes, sir.
that I specifically wanted a son to be my firstborn.
Yes, sir.
so he can know everything that my biological can give me. Because see, I'm cut off from the umbilical cord.
Yes,
I
sir.
can't retrace my steps. But that has nothing to do with my biological. That has more to do with the nation that he came within and he was birthed in.
Yes, sir.
And everybody doesn't have the wherewithal to go back inside the subconscious and make a conscious effort to be a daddy. Which my biological chose not to be a daddy, which I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he wasn't my daddy.
Yes, sir.
Because I probably would have been a different person.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I mean? So
Yeah,
it was meant for him to do what he did. It was meant for him to bring birth and breathe, put life into me. But it wasn't meant for him to be my daddy.
Yes, sir.
He was just meant to be my father.
Yes, sir.
And that's the biggest difference. The difference between fathers and daddies. Oh,
Yes,
it's a
sir.
big difference, man. I grew up, I had a daddy.
Yes, sir.
This dude just happened to be my father.
Yes, sir.
You understand? I'm your daddy
Yes, sir.
because I'm here. I've always been here.
Yes, sir.
And that's the difference. Daddies are down. Daddies are down no matter what. Rain, sleet, slow, they there. And if they don't have the money, they have the time. If they have the time, they have the wherewithal to be able to give you that game. Or just those building blocks.
Yes, sir.
So when you get to that first base, when you graduate, whatever, either school or college, that first launching place to be able to help you matriculate yourself through this nation.
Yes, sir.
That's the beautiful thing about being a father. But hey, man, I'm just happy you here, boy.
Yes, sir. I'm happy I'm here too.
I'm happy you here.
What's some things for me like going into? I mean, I ain't going into fatherhood right now, but I made it 27 years without having one.
No, it's a good thing that you are. I'm glad that you are patient. I had you young.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad that you're patient
Yes, sir.
because now you've been able to travel, without, and I'm not saying when you have children young, you can't do this. It's just that you don't have the finances to do it.
No.
And you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
Yes, sir.
It's best to always wait till you past 30,
Yes, sir.
35, 40 years old.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because then you have the financial wherewithal to really do for your children. When you're 23, 24, 25, 22 years old, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you still trying to figure. Like for me at 22, I'm still figuring out life, trying to figure out what I'm about to do long term to create create a foundation for myself and stuff. So I can only imagine bringing up because that would have been about 5 years ago. So I would have had a 5-year-old right now.
Correct.
And I'm still just taking care of myself.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Health insurance, life insurance, dental plan. You got to see if you're going to put money for a trust fund for them. You got to figure out what school they're going to go to. When it's time for them to go to school, who's going to pick them up? Who's going to drop them off? All of those things, logistics, and then now I have to work.
Yeah.
When do I have the time to do all this stuff? And now I want to have. Oh, wait a minute, this program costs this much. Oh my Lord, how much is the fees for lunch this month? Good Lord, it constantly keeps moving up. And when you're young, you don't know how to do all that stuff. No. There's no book on how. There's no book on how. There's no book on how.
Yeah.
To take care of all of these types of things that you have to do when you're raising children. That's one thing that you never would comprehend. Because you say, wait a minute, I have to have a life. I have to have health insurance. I have to have health insurance. I have to have a dental plan. I have the dental insurance. Then you sit there and say, like, what?
Yeah.
Now you get your job. Now you got to go add your newborn to your health insurance. Like, oh, wait a minute. So now I'm not paying $75 a paycheck. Now I'm paying $200 a paycheck for health insurance. Oh my Lord! Wait a minute. Then how am I going to put money towards my 401k? How am I going to put money towards my retirement? Then you start seeing whatever income you got, you might as well just add a negative to it because everything is going to be deducted.
Yeah.
Deduction. Don't forget now what, Lord, forgive you if something happened to one of your tires.
Yes, sir.
Or your car engine go out, which is typical in this nation.
Yes, sir.
And now, oh man, if you got an apartment, now the rent going up, 5 months every what?
Yeah, it's like 3%. They said 3% every year.
So just imagine that.
But your paycheck don't go up 3% every year.
Those are the things that a parent just can't tell you. We can tell you certain things, but the only way you're going to experience it is when you get out there. And
yes,
so for me, when I had to get out there, that's when I experienced it.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Insurance costs what? What do you mean? So I'm only making $12 an hour and $146 every week or every 2 weeks is coming out of my paycheck for health insurance. Wait a minute, I have a copayment. My parents never told me about a deductible. Wait a minute, I have a copay and a deductible. Wait a minute, my deductible was $3,000. That's how it works. And wait a minute, now how much is formula? How much is a pound? This is kind of stuff that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
I was given that game, but it's still a parts of that game that my parents just couldn't give me because every time you have a child and you separate from your parents, that's a generational. So the time when they was paying for all this stuff, it's totally different.
Yeah, because you got 20 years.
Correct.
20 years in between.
And so it's a culture shock, which is why most young couples don't even make it past a year when they have a child. Because you 23, there's the other person you involved with maybe 22, 23. Now you talking about you want to go hang out with your friends. Wait a minute, you going to hang out with your friends. You got a baby here.
You got a kid.
Wait a minute, no, I'm going with my friends. We're going to play basketball.
Nah.
You understand? Or now my boys, we going to the club.
Nah.
One thing you got to understand, you ain't got no boys.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. And so now there is that divide.
Yes, sir.
This is all within fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
You know, again, these are the things that a daddy or mama, they can't tell you.
Yes, sir.
It's the only thing that you have to live it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live it. My daddy gave me as much game as he could, but he couldn't give me that kind of game because there wasn't no such thing as child support in the 60s and the 70s with him. Janet Reno hadn't came around until the late 80s.
Yes,
by that time, my daddy and them were through, so they don't know about no damn child support. They generation, back then, at my daddy time, you know, you just let the kid wear yours, you know what I mean? I ain't got no baby out there.
Yeah.
Or some of them, they knew, the wife knew that he had another family on the side of town. Or sometimes they didn't find out till daddy died. And now here's the funeral, and here's 3 children and this lady. And you're like, what the?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so those are the types of things that, man. But hey, I love being a daddy. I love being a father. I love it all. I love the fact that you here, and I had a reunion with all my Army buddies. That the fact that I was able to see 30 years later after being 18, after the Gulf War and being in the military during that time and knowing that you might get sent off the war to die and you didn't have a child. And then when you finally do get a child coming back after your time in the military and to be able to raise your child, oh my Lord, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yes, sir.
I love it. I would change it for the world.
Yes,
I would change it for the world.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's some things, because, you know, I still got probably a good, for sure 5 years, 10 years before I have a child and stuff. But what's some advice that you'll pass down to the younger generation to, you know, to men my age and stuff on fatherhood and some of the things that you've experienced that, you know, you advise us not to go down or just different gems to give me moving forward and picking a partner to actually procreate with.
Make sure that individual daddy issues, look into their background, their family background. It means a whole lot to know what kind of relationship that woman had.
Yes, sir.
With their daddy. You need to know what kind of relationship that woman had with her mama. You need to know all of those things because how you are brought up is how you're going to basically be as an adult.
Yes, sir.
And if you grew up in a fucked up and discombobulated environment, 9 times out of 10, that individual you are messing with is going to be discombobulated and fucked up.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of times we get infatuated with how it feels when you lay down with that individual and the sex part.
Yes, sir.
That's the most minimum part of adulthood and marriage and a real partner. That's the minimum. It's what's inside of them.
Yes, sir.
It's like I don't know if you ever remember when I tell you I say it's like planting a tree in the soil, and the soil is contaminated and rotten, and that tree that you planted in that soil is not nurtured and not given the right, like they put a stick on the side of that tree and they plant that stick with the tree so the tree can grow erect, and they place like 3 spikes in a string to hold it in place to help it go straight up. Well, it's basically the same thing. If that woman or that, you know, and for instance, like my daughter, or for that individual she wants to be involved with, if that soil and that person wasn't placed in that soil properly, that tree is going to grow sideways. It's going to grow all erratic.
Yes, sir.
Which usually happens with us in relationships. Some people grew up in a foundation home where everything they saw their mama, their daddy, they ate dinner at the dinner table, they had conversations.
Yes, sir.
And then you have on the other side, you have a person that's either raised by a single mother or a single father who didn't get both sides. So they don't know that it's a duality in a relationship.
Yes, sir.
Most men who are raised with their woman, or most women who are raised with dysfunction, throws dysfunction on their children. So you have to look in that.
Yes, sir.
You have to basically be a psychiatrist on your own.
Yes, sir.
And ask those kind of questions. You know, how that relationship, how are you with your daddy? You know, did y'all go on trips? What was the dynamics inside your house? So, you know, hey, you know, but y'all go on trips all the time. What did y'all do? Y'all play video games? Y'all play board games? You know, you have to really know. Because what happens, people can trick you, man.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with you in life.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to know the whole rundown. You're not going to know if that person either might have been molested.
Yes, sir.
Which is very typical dealing with women. It doesn't matter the racial.
Nah.
9 times out of 10, someone has tampered with them.
Yes, sir. And it's traumatized.
And it's trauma. And so those are the things. And you have to be able to really listen. Because if you're listening, you just watching how they move around with their family. And you know if she got a problem with her daddy or she always yelling mad at her mama, you better be careful.
Yes, sir.
You better be more than careful because 9 out of 10, that hate and that disregard to that parents is going to be disregard towards you and not going to understand that there is a structure.
Yeah.
There is a structure. And that's the tightrope that you walk. That you're going to be involved. You're going to love this woman. You're going to be like, oh, man, this is the perfect person for me. Yeah, you know, I can work with, you know, hey, yeah, she got daddy issues. Yeah, the men she is involved with, you know, they was on the bad side, you know, but, you know, she was trying to find herself. Fuck that. Fuck that. We're trying to find yourself.
Yeah. That's what you attracted to.
Correct.
Because of your past.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, they didn't have that loving daddy. They gave him a hug and gave him a kiss.
So, you know, it's so crazy. I was actually having a conversation with a therapist, and she was saying that when a woman hasn't been loved properly by a man, when you try to love them and be affectionate and stuff like that, they don't receive it well because that they're not used to that. They think love is being yelled at and like abuse and things. Like they think if somebody does that to them, that is love. When it's like nah, like but that goes to that trauma. But that becomes their normal.
Correct.
And so it's like me personally, it's like I'm an affectionate person if I love you. So if I love you and I'm showing affection, but you're not receiving it, like you're seeing it as a form of weakness or something like that, it's not going to work. Yes,
well, what's that saying? Look deep before you leap.
Yes, sir.
But we don't do that. See, that's why I'm glad that you've taken the time. By this time, your age, at 27, shit, I was on child support.
Yeah.
Fucking losing my first home. Going to see a psychiatrist.
Yes, sir.
Because I was mentally losing it from trying to be a daddy.
Yes, sir.
Because
I appreciate you for that because most men would have given up with what you encountered and stuff and trying to be a father to me and stuff. So I can't thank you enough because that's why we have this relationship now.
Correct.
Is because you never gave up and stuff.
Which would have been easy for me to give up.
Yes, sir.
That's one thing I learned from my situation with my biological. It was easy for him to do what he did.
Yes, sir.
That was easy.
The hard part is just like discipline and working out and stuff like that and staying consistent. Like for me as a business owner, every day.
You have to. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Because it's you.
Yes, sir.
So just imagine when you become a father, you're not only a business owner, you are a owner of a small person.
Yes, sir.
That is your new business. So the same dedication that you're using in your business now, that you don't sleep, that you on phone call, you got to do this, you got to do that, you always got to plan ahead.
Yes, sir.
Just imagine when you have that child. That child is your new business.
Yes, sir.
You got to make sure You have insurance, right, for your business. You got to
Yes,
have
sir.
insurance for your child.
Yes, sir.
You want to make sure that it's stocked properly, whatever supplies you need. The same thing with your baby.
Mm.
We don't look at it like that. So now, because you're a business owner, you've been a business owner for a very long time. You have to see the same thing. When you have a child, you're a business owner.
Yes, sir.
That is yours. It is your responsibility. You want to see a return on your investment. What is it? ROI?
Yeah, ROI.
You want an ROI on your investment?
Yes, sir.
You want an ROI on this investment?
Yes, sir.
You want an ROI on that investment?
Yes, sir.
That's the beautiful thing about it. And I can't wait, but I'm patient.
Oh yeah.
I'm not ready to be a granddaddy because I have this
You got
7
two
and a
babies.
13-year-old. I got other babies. But I can't wait for this so you can see exactly what it is. And that is not about how much money you have.
No, sir.
It's that time, like getting off of work. Come on, Sid. Let's get that ball. Let's get on that basketball court. Let's go to the pool.
Yes, sir.
Those are the types of things you don't get that time. So like I say, it's a business. You're a business owner. You know that's 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
But the same thing with the daddy. Being a daddy. Being a father.
Mm-hmm.
That's 24-hour operation. You motherfucker 7-Eleven. Well,
Yes,
what
sir.
is 7? What's those?
Yeah,
What's
7-Eleven.
open? They open 24 hours?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, again, think about it. When I was your age, 7-Eleven was from 7-Eleven.
Oh nah.
That's why it was called 7 to 11. But now I do remember it's 24 hours now.
Yes, sir.
Well, when
7 days a week.
When you're a father, it's 24 hours a day.
Yes, sir.
It never changes. Just like when you went out today, you went to go to the store. I'm thinking, I hope you're all right.
Yes, sir.
I'm just hoping like, damn. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's how it is. The other two, I tell her going with her friends. I'm thinking the whole time, man, I hope she is okay.
Yes, sir.
I hate this.
But that only comes in once you actually become a father.
Correct.
Once you become a dad.
Correct. You don't think about those things until you have a child.
Yeah.
Then you're like, wait a minute, you got to think safety first. Now I understand what my parents always told me. Get your ass in this house before the lights come on. And all my friends who going to be listening to this that I grew up with, when they remember, we was those kids that had to be home and couldn't let the damn fucking lizard see a shadow.
Mm.
That was us. That was me and my brothers, which is why we had the discipline to not find ourselves selling crack
Yes, sir.
because we had a daddy.
Yes, sir.
You know, I always tell people, my situation is extremely unique because everybody I knew, everybody in my neighborhood had a daddy. There was only one friend of ours that didn't have a daddy.
Mm.
Only one. But my daddy was like they daddy
Yes, sir.
because they spent a lot of time at our home. Because my daddy was Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. My daddy was Mr. President. My daddy was the only daddy that came out of the neighborhood and played with people, which is why I am the way I am, which is why me and my brothers, all of us are the same way with our children.
Yes, sir.
All of us are the same way with our children. We have our children
Yes, sir.
because we had a daddy, but we didn't have a daddy. We had a daddy with capital letters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Alan didn't play.
Yes, sir.
And everybody who knew my daddy know he didn't play. But one thing I knew about him, he came home.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
He made it an effort.
He made it an effort, even though he was tired, throwing them carrots. And again, I always tell people, I'm unique. Just like your situation is unique. Most people don't have what you have.
Yes,
Most
sir.
people don't. But when I grew up, everybody had a daddy. The difference was, my daddy was a daddy who participated. My friends, their daddies was, they was just out in them streets. They was home, but they was in the streets.
Yes, sir.
But my daddy was home and home. He went in the street. He wasn't in the corner. We didn't have to try to figure out what my daddy was.
Mm-hmm.
We knew when he came home, he gonna play with you for a couple minutes, then he gonna go about his business. That's all you want is just to show that affection and that attention. Ain't gonna do what you gotta do because I don't want you to be around me because next thing you gonna try to make me go do some work.
Yes, sir.
After he shoot shit, man, shit, the fucking house ain't clean. Get your ass out and go do something. That's my daddy.
Yes, sir.
I'm that same way.
Yes, sir.
Only difference is, you take on the good and you take on the bad. My problem is I yell like he did, and I wish I didn't. And I have to sit down with my baby's and tell him I'm sorry. I'm not. I wish I wasn't that way.
Yeah.
Those are the good and the bad that you take from a parent. When you, especially see the difference between me and you. You want to raise my home. You got to come and visit all the time.
Yes, sir.
They get to see what Alan was, and that's the only bad.
Yes, sir.
It's good, but it's bad
Yes, sir.
because you don't want to yell at your kids when you get angry.
Mm.
And that's one thing I've learned how to.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because you don't mean it that way.
Yeah.
You don't mean it. And the wild thing is raising a girl.
I was about to say, what's the difference between raising Taylor versus raising JJ?
I I can't treat her like I treated you, and I can't treat her like I treat him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the balance in that, because I can be very physical with you guys,
Mm-hmm.
and with her, because it was her by herself for the first 7 years. I was very physical, and I raised her like a little boy.
Mm.
So I would throw her, I would bust her up,
Mm-hmm.
put her in a headlock, let her put me in a headlock. And then as she's gotten older now, I can't do that no more to her.
Mm-hmm.
Cause, but it's just different.
Yes, sir.
I coddle her more. I give her what she wants. But you guys, I don't have to.
Nah, you tell me you're a grown ass man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And JJ, man, get on out, get on, move on. But with her, it's something about girls with their daddies, and I got it.
Yes, sir.
It took for me to have a daughter to get it.
Yes, sir.
That's what really did it for me, was having a daughter.
Mm.
Having a son was easy.
Yes, sir.
But that's what I wanted. I didn't want no girl.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I never grew up around girls. I didn't know how to raise a girl. That's another thing. Daddies, man, you melt.
Yeah.
But then I understood I have to be the one that she loved. That's the number one thing I got from her.
Mm.
She fell in love with her daddy. She loves her daddy.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed that about a lot of girls. They don't love their daddy.
Mm. And so it's like, that goes back to what I need to look for when
She got to love her daddy.
Yes, sir. Because that's the only way she'll be able to love me.
Right. And there's certain things that girls can say. She can say something to me that you guys can't.
Mm-hmm.
She can talk to me differently than you guys can.
Yes, sir.
That's the other thing. And then I started kicking. I say, wow, so I see why girls are the way they are. And for those that's hearing a little background, that's just we having a not a 4th of July celebration, but we're just having a get
family
together.
reunion.
That's it. We're having to get together, and it's a perfect time. And that's why you hear a little bit of noise in the background. All right, go
Yeah,
back
so
up.
so like a woman has to love her father, like you just said, how Taylor, she loves her daddy and stuff. So for us men and looking for someone, to be with and everything, always when you're looking deep, look to see what their relationship, see if they love their dad.
She better love her daddy.
Mm.
She better love her daddy. Now, I've had situations where the women had complicated relationships with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another dynamic that's thrown into it. And so when you're raising your daughter, if you ever have one, you have to understand you got to be the person that she fell in love with.
Yes, sir.
Because if not, it's going to be some old knucklehead out there that's going to be a terrible, terrible person.
Yes, sir.
To her. And I got buddies that have situations where their children going through things. And that hurts, because as a daddy, you want to be able to, no matter what, even though your child is an adult, you want to go back as you was the daddy when they was 2 or 3 and 11 years old, where you can really apply maximum pressure to that individual she's dealing with.
Yes, sir.
Those are the other things that you don't want nobody to hurt your daughter.
Yes, sir.
And that's the worst, to see your daughter cry. Oh, my Lord.
Mm.
But they run game on you, too.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. They run game on you.
Yeah, because they know.
They know. My daughter run game on me all the time, and I admit it.
Mm-hmm.
She run game on me. And I wish I could not allow that to happen. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But then I sit there and think to myself and say, I have to.
Why?
I don't know why.
I'm gonna say, you said you have to.
I don't know why. That's a good question, Pretty. I don't know why. I just want to be her everything.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I want to be her everything.
Even though I'm not a father, but I understand from the standpoint of, because it's like same thing with being in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You want your woman to respect and want to know that she can count on you.
Correct.
And everything. So that's the same thing with a daughter.
Correct.
You want to know. You want to let her know, okay, if you need something, I got you.
That's I like how you did that. That's perfect. That's the best way to put that into context.
Mm-hmm.
I just want her to, like, she don't have to worry about anything. But then it gets into the point where, hey, Daddy, you gonna buy me this? Hey, wait, now you come an adult, you got to do it on your own.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
get you. Like, no, Daddy gonna get it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing. But it's a beautiful thing, man. Hey, for somebody who wasn't raised with girls, I jumped into it. I learned how to change them Pampers, knew how to clean out her and everything, and all the other stuff. Now I'm through with it.
Yes, sir.
Now 13. She ain't got no need for Daddy, but just let me get your debit card.
Yes, sir.
Well, Daddy, I love you, and then say mean things to me.
Mm.
But I understand.
Yes, sir.
That's girls. But I know that the love is genuine.
Yes, sir.
I know that it's my words that she hangs on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only a daddy can say certain things that can make them cry.
Yes, sir.
That's the worst thing. I notice with daughters, they're seeking your validation.
Mm.
That's why they look for the wrong dudes.
Gotcha.
You understand? That's the best way I can put that. She always looks for my validation.
Mm.
Daddy, how does this look?
Mm-hmm.
How does this look, Daddy? Oh, why you keep bothering me? How does it look, Daddy? Does this match, Daddy? Does this look good? And don't care about what Mama say. It's what my validation. As long as I give her that seal of approval, she don't care about nothing.
Gotcha.
And that's the number one thing I've learned about having a daughter. Boys just want you to say, I'm proud of you and pat you on your back and say, good job. Girls, they look for you to validate their existence.
Because if you don't validate it, somebody else is going to validate it.
Correct. And it usually be the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then, now you're listening to this dude over me. And now I got a problem. But that's usually what happens. So by the time 14, 15, 16, little Joy down the street or little Joy in ninth grade class, little Joy done ran game.
Telling her what she wanted to hear.
Yeah, now she's
telling her everything that you was supposed to tell her.
Correct.
Because now he telling her, calling her beautiful and stuff like that.
Yep. It never heard, I love you. And he just saying, I love you because he want to pull your panties down. You know, and those are the things. That's why it's important that you let them know all the time. I tell them, hey, I love you. Every night before they go to bed. It's religious.
Yes, sir.
Or before I go to work. I had to go in there, check on them, make sure they alive, and give them a kiss on their forehead. I did the same thing with you as a baby.
Yes, sir.
And I've continued. That's that.
Yes, sir.
I can't leave the house. I have to give them a kiss before I go to work.
Yes,
I walk out that door. It's a routine.
Yes, sir.
And they know it. They both right there know when they come in the room, it's going to be 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, well, no matter what. Those are the things. That's the beautiful thing about being a father, man. You know?
Yeah, that's priceless.
It is.
Yeah, I can't. You know, I can, but can't wait to be able to experience that. Because I remember all those times when you used to do it, even when I was visiting and stuff before you was going to work, come in there, kiss me on the forehead and stuff.
Always gave you a kiss.
Yes, sir. And then before I left on the airport, give each other a kiss.
Always.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Even when you was gone and the first time I seen you after 5 years. That's what another thing the world, y'all, we'll talk about that one day in our other shows, Conversation Pops, about our connection.
Yeah.
But it's like when I hadn't seen you in all them years, and then the first time I saw you, you jumped right in me, you gave me a kiss like it wasn't nothing. You hadn't seen me in 5 years. Just think about that.
Yes, sir.
You was 9 years old,
yeah.
And I hadn't seen you since you was 4. Mother's Day, 1998, you were 4 years old. And I didn't see you again until June 12th, 2003. So Mother's Day, 1998, I didn't see you again until June 12th, 2002. That's when I saw you. That's when 2002, 2003, it was 2002. But as soon as you saw me, you jumped out and you gave me a kiss on my lips.
Yes, sir.
Because that is something
we're going to put the picture. We're going to put the picture in here.
Yeah, I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
So they can see. That's the first thing you did.
Yes, sir.
It was because it was something that, even though you hadn't seen this man in 5 years, it was something that you just automatically knew.
Yes, sir.
Just like that. And same thing now with my babies. No matter what. I don't kiss them like I used to kiss you all the time. I kiss them on their forehead all the time.
Yes, sir.
It was just something that was just natural. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a lot of memories. Yeah. But yeah, you know, that's the type of conversation the world has to hear. A father, a dad.
Correct.
And his son. Grown, calls me a grown-ass man all the time. He tells me.
That's right.
Even though at times when I was living with him, I thought he was too hard on me, and but I understand it now.
It's man training.
Yes, sir.
But see, that's another thing. See, that's the thing that goes back to our path in America. We couldn't be daddies, so we couldn't pass it on, so we couldn't show affection, which is why it's so many black men in this nation are averse to just showing affection, which is why we always angry. But it has more to do with living in a system that takes black men out of the homes and elevates a black woman above and puts them as the household head.
Yes, sir.
Which distorts the reality of the dynamics of family life. It just distorts. It's not natural.
No.
And only in the animal kingdom, and usually in the animal kingdom, the mothers do all the child rearing anyway. And it's the man's responsibility to teach them how to go out there and hunt.
Yes, sir.
That's their responsibility. There's the nurturing part, and then that's the other part that teach you. Correct.
Yeah.
Which is they've taken away. And it was done systematically in this nation, first through slavery, chattel slavery. But then after chattel slavery, people say, hey, man, after 1865, you guys were free no more. You know, we weren't free because these people still controlled your economic livelihood. So even if you got into something and you was doing the right things, these people can just fire you.
Yes, sir.
So now I'm fired. How am I gonna do anything for my children?
Yeah.
I lost everything.
Yeah.
Now you can kill me anytime you want. You can kill me anytime you want. This is the kind of stuff that black men had to deal with.
Yes, sir.
They can kill you. And next thing you know, they tell you, hey man, you better be out of town within
24 hours.
Yeah, you got 24 hours. By Friday, you better be gone. By Friday, you better be gone. And then what I'm gonna do? What am I gonna do? I can't go back home. This is what they did to us systematically in this nation.
Yes,
so
sir.
now daddy gone. So now mama left to raise the kids again by herself. Bad enough she had to do it when during slavery. She had to raise us by herself. Now here we are with this crap, and you can continue to keep doing this to us. That's the dynamic of living in America. 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century, you did it through force. Coming at the end of the 19th century, going to the 20th century, you did it through the legal, the penal system, and the injustice system.
Yes, sir.
They still kept us separated from being daddies. That's what's so fascinating about what they've been able to do. And then to turn around and say, hey, man, the black man ain't there. That's deadbeat dads. The black man ain't never been a part of his children's life. Oh, they ain't worth for nothing. And it's not true. It's a lot that's in our hands, and then it's thrown upon a woman. Because now she got to do everything. You understand? That's what they've done to us.
Yes, sir.
On the plantations, Big Mama was elevated. Outside of the big strong buck, you had the little Sambos that was sitting there doing all kind of treacherous stuff to us.
Yes, sir.
You could be a daddy.
Yes, sir.
You just could be a daddy.
Yeah.
God, that's what they... Oh, man. That's why I love America, but she does something to me, man.
Yes, sir.
She does something to me. And being a veteran, and to tie this into the 4th of July, I said, God damn, stop it. Stop doing what you're doing to us, America. But she just refused to stop doing this to us, man.
It's in her nature.
It's in her nature. It's in her DNA.
Yeah.
It's in her DNA. You can't reform what they've done to us. You can't reform.
You gotta completely knock it down.
Correct. And I wish a lot more of daddies. And specifically when we're talking, me and my son talking, I'm coming from the black man's perspective. I'm not worried about any other man's and people's perspective. I'm coming from a black man's perspective, living under white supremacy, being captured people. That's what my perspective is, being captured people. And when you're living in this system, in this box, man, it feels good to sometimes just be able to breathe. But then you always are on you're watching your six.
Yes, sir.
And for those that don't understand, watching your six, that means watching your back. So we always watching our back. And that's the other thing that I don't think really people in America comprehend, is that even though there's this such thing called independence and freedom in this nation, you and I are not free, because under the Constitution, they have to draft legislation to give us this so-called freedom.
Yes, sir.
They have to give us this so-called freedom. Constantly apply pressure to us. And right now she's on autopilot. And it's going to take a whole lot for us to get her off of autopilot, because there's so many Sambos, and when I say Sambos, I'm referencing black men in general, who betrays and undermines and sabotages any upward mobility and movement for black people or descendants of slaves in America. So that's who the Sambo is. Sambo is the one who will beat you for master. Yeah. Sambo is the one who will tell that we're trying to escape. Sambo is the one that tell that you was late to work today. Sambo is that dude who would give the plans on how to get Fred Hampton.
Let's talk about the difference between Sambo and Uncle Tom, because everybody keep saying that Uncle
Yeah,
Tom is. It's
yeah.
like, nah, it's two different things. So tell the story of Uncle Tom real quick.
Uncle Tom. Well, I'll give you a better one. Uncle Tom is Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not even gonna give him that because Uncle Tom was a hero,
Exactly. That's what I'm
and
saying.
Barack Obama was never a hero. So I'm gonna say Uncle Tom in modern day would be. She's running for Congress right now. What's this young lady's name? She's from Ohio. Nina Turner.
Nina Turner.
Nina Turner. Nina Turner would be considered a modern day Uncle Tom. She's trying to help out people. She's trying to help people. She won't tell.
No, but you missed
Well,
the
Uncle
part.
Tom would never tell what a slave was.
Okay.
That's the real story. Uncle Tom, Huckleberry Finn. Uncle Tom would never tell what a slave was. So Simon Legree, when it got Sambo, Sambo beat Uncle Tom to death. Sambo was the black slave. Uncle Tom was another slave. Sambo was the one who beat the slaves on the plantation. Sambo and Uncle Tom was on the plantation with Sambo. And Uncle Tom refused to snitch. Uncle Tom refused to snitch.
Yep.
See, that's how duplicitous America is. They got us believing that Uncle Tom is this bad person.
Nope.
So here in America, we have a lot of Uncle Toms that will refuse to snitch.
Yep.
Then we got a lot of Tekashi 6ix9ines.
Yep. Snitches.
Snitches, and those are the guy from the Senator Tim Scott, black senator from South Carolina. It's only two black men that's senators in the United States: Cory Booker from New Jersey and Tim Scott from South Carolina. Tim Scott is a modern day Sambo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Sambo because he came out a couple of weeks ago and said America's not a racist nation.
Yeah.
She's not racist. You understand?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, another Sambo. America's not a racist nation.
How can you
Barack
say that?
Obama, another Sambo.
Yep.
Because the make Obama such a Sambo is when he said that, the institutional restraints prevented me from doing anything for black people.
Bullshit.
That's Sambo. Because Sambo gonna beat you to appease master. Uncle Tom ain't gonna beat you. Uncle Tom might took around him, but Uncle Tom ain't gonna beat you. And Uncle Tom didn't tell where we was at.
Exactly.
So that's why I say, here it is in the 21st century. We got a lot of Sambos.
Yes, sir.
And I've been around a lot of Sambos.
Yes, sir.
And as you matriculate into your life, you know the Sambos real quick.
Yes,
and
sir.
The Sambos that I'm talking about are when you're having a conversation about racial issues.
Oh, they say I don't see race in
Or the real Sambo, he gonna be looking around like this. So every time you talk, he gonna be looking back to see if somebody listening to him. Them the ones.
because
Them the ones.
Yeah.
Them the
Gotcha.
ones. Next time you have a conversation with somebody, again, the First Amendment gives you the right to say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But Sambo gonna be looking around. Uncle Tom, he gonna be sitting right there listening to you. Ain't gonna be looking you eye to eye.
Yes,
He
sir.
gonna be looking around his back. But that damn Sambo, oh yeah. Oh, he go. That's the one. That's the one. The Sambos be sitting there. Yeah, man, we ought to do this, ought to do that. And he going right back to tell the master, hey man, they getting ready to try to escape. Hey, boss, they trying to unionize. That's the Sambo.
Yes, sir.
Uncle Tom gonna keep the goddamn blueprints to himself, tuck them in, and if they waterboard him like Dick Cheney and them used to do and Donald Rumsfeld bitch ass, and try to waterboard him, he just gonna die.
Yep.
See, I ride with them Uncle Toms.
Yeah, me too.
I love me an Uncle Tom, but
Sambo?
but again, I've been in the midst of so many Sambos. Saying that's another thing dealing with fatherhood. Them Sambos, them the ones that want to say, hey man, let's go hang out, man. He got 3 or 4 kids from 2 or 3 different women. But he wants you to go hang out at a strip club or go to the bar with him. But Uncle Tom, he gonna tell you, man, get your ass home with your family.
Yes, sir.
See, that's gonna be real, dude.
Yes, sir.
See, that's why I say we're in the midst of a whole bunch of Sambos. Ain't too many Uncle Toms out there.
Yeah.
Me, I've always considered myself one of them kind of dudes because I've always told dudes, hey man, but I always told you,
Yeah, you single?
single people should be around married people.
Nope.
What I always told you, married man ain't. If a married man hang around a single dude, that's not somebody you need to be around much longer.
Yes, sir.
Because he's setting a bad example for what marriage is.
Yes, sir.
You ain't supposed to be having your ass out there in the fucking clubs and partying all the goddamn time.
Yeah, nah.
But that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's them Sambos. Hey, I dealt with that when I'm early 20s, and I'm like, why do you guys feel the need when you get your paychecks to go to the strip club? Think about that. And most
So
of
that
them
money's supposed to be going home to your family, especially what you just told me broke down the cost of having a child.
But you at a strip club.
And you putting the money that's supposed to be in your child's mouth to a woman that don't give.
And then you mad that you're on child support. See, that's what I mean. We deal with a bunch of things. That's why these strip clubs, think about it. The strip clubs are packed all the time.
With married men.
Black strip clubs and white strip clubs filled with these married men, though. That's what I mean. This is the kind of stuff, and they tied all in the independence and being a father. A real dude wants to be a daddy.
Yes, sir.
But you got a lot of dudes that just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Okay? Why your ass
They
in the
just want
strip
the
club?
title.
That's it. It sound good. It sound good.
That same goes for like entrepreneurship. It sounds good to say you're a business owner.
Until you out there doing it. And then you realize.
Everything's on you.
Yeah.
Everything's on you. And
That's all on you.
Yep.
That's why I tie that in. A business is like when you're having a child. That's your business.
Yes, sir.
It's your responsibility.
Yes, sir.
To make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed.
Yes, sir.
That's the same thing with your child. That's why I say, man, I love being a daddy. I wouldn't trade being a daddy, and I wouldn't trade living on this side of the planet for nothing in the world.
Yes, sir.
Because it's meant for me to be here at this moment in time, and it's meant for you to be here.
Yes,
this
sir.
was our paths.
Yes, sir.
I guess in the last show we talked about, I tell you, I don't believe in faith. I don't believe in religion. But I do believe in destiny.
Yes, sir.
And it was meant for me to go through what I went through so I can give that to you.
Yes, sir.
So it's in the back of your cortex, what they call it, cerebral cortex, your brain, this inside of this skull.
Yes, sir.
So I can give that to you. So I can show you and help you navigate. So when you get to the points in your life and you're like, wait a minute, I remember my daddy had a conversation one time. He told me about this. It's not the same thing, but it's similar. Let me try a different approach. So that's the beautiful thing about being a daddy.
Yes, sir.
Is to be able to drop them jewels. See, I've been dropping jewels in your head.
Yes,
jewels,
sir.
Jewels. That's from making you watch C-SPAN when you was a little kid. You understand? To giving you game on the Federal Reserve, to teaching you about what politics and life was. See,
yes,
a lot of people think that politics, I don't want to talk about politics. Politics is life.
Yes, sir.
And anytime you get people...
Yeah, it's not a game.
It's not a game.
They really passing laws to control you.
Correct. Which is why I hate when anybody say, man, I don't want to talk politics. That's somebody who doesn't want to deal with reality.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
See, again, that Sambo didn't want to deal in reality. Uncle Tom dealt in reality because Uncle Tom knew it's important that these plans are not thrown out there so somebody can know what we're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
Uncover.
Yes, sir.
It's important and it's imperative. Keep that inside so I can help my people escape.
Yes, sir.
I don't let master know where they at.
Yes, sir.
Now those Sambos, hey man,
they going straight to master.
Sambo is all. That's why you see they connected. They don't have no facial hair. They standing right next to him. Boss, we good? Yeah, we good. Boss, we tired? Them Sambos. Django. You remember Django? Django wasn't no motherfucking Sambo. Django was all out fucking Uncle Tom. Now, I forgot the Samuel L. Jackson part.
Yeah, he was Sambo.
That's Sambo.
That's Sambo.
That's Sambo.
This is a prime example. Just watch Django. You know the difference. Samuel L. Jackson is Sambo. Jamie Foxx, Uncle Tom.
Oh, man. Boy. Was the hero. He ended it up.
Yep.
He was the hero. Well, you saw what happened to Sambo. And I wish that was happening today to the Sambos, you know, because more black boys would be raised better if there was a lot of Uncle Toms in the home.
Yes, sir.
But what a lot of the young black men have, and black boys have, is a lot of Sambos, you know.
Yes, sir.
And that's about all I can say right there on that with that, Pretty Ricky.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with Pops on Black fatherhood and the importance of it. And, you know, the difference between a father and a daddy. You know what I'm saying? So I love having a dad. I'm going to love the journey when I become a dad, and just instilling in my child everything that my pops instilled in me plus more and stuff. And so that's just the beautiful thing about evolving life. Oh, I'll end off like how how do you think you did with raising me and how I've turned out?
It's a success.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I always remember my daddy always said, I want you to be better than me.
Yes, sir.
Well, you way better than me. I wasn't know how you at at 27. I wasn't no entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
You don't understand what I mean? No. I was a dude who was just a worker, living in a house, and just trying to be a daddy. I didn't even know about being an entrepreneur. I just wanted you to be better than me. That's all a daddy wants. That's all my daddy ever wanted, was me to be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And he reinforced that in my head over and over and over. He just wanted me to be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And you are better than me. You are a better version of me.
Yes, sir.
And I love that.
Yes, sir.
You're a spitting image of me. You look just like me. Differences. You got a hair full of hair. You got that body call you Pretty Ricky. You got you always was pretty. So I didn't have that. But I'm glad that you got all that. And I was glad that I was able to give you that game.
Yes, sir. Because that game is what helped me to even get to the point to where I'm at now.
Correct.
Because I can't run game on me.
You can't. And if they do, I'm going to tell you, well, that's your fault.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you, that's your fault.
Yeah.
You remember the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago about your business situation?
Yes, sir.
I said, that's your fault. I said, you didn't have it in the contract.
Yes, sir.
I say, don't get mad at that person. Get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm glad I was able to give you the game on how white supremacy works.
Yes, sir.
Because white supremacy is a mindset.
Yeah.
It's already codified in the legal system, but it's a mindset. And a lot of people have that like, it's going okay. That just that white supremacist mindset. So that's why I told you, hey, it's not that person's fault that you getting less money. It's your fault because it wasn't in contract. And see, that's how the white man did it. The white man used to do that same thing to them Indians, the Native Americans, the indigenous people, and say, hey, he'll sign this treaty. They can't read. They don't know what you're talking about. So you just put any kind of language. And the language say, I'm taking all your land. You can't read, so you sign off on it. Same thing with you.
Yes, sir.
Use your fault because you didn't put the right verbiage in the contract.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's why I say, that's why I love being a daddy, man. Because
But that goes to you to saying you're Uncle Tom versus a sample, because a sample would have just, hey.
Yeah.
But you were like, nah, you kept it all the way real. That's your fault.
Correct.
Next time, don't get mad. Just know how to maneuver the next time it happens. Like, next time you're in that situation, make
Correct.
sure you do it the right way this time. And it's like, good thing I learned early versus with millions of dollars on the table.
Correct. And see, that's why I say fatherhood. See, my daddy gave me the game on black struggle and, Before the Mayflower and all these books he had me reading as a kid. But it helped me because I understood where we coming from would be before the Mayflower. Mm-hmm. But I didn't understand what undergirded this racist system.
Yes,
because
sir.
my daddy wasn't steeped in the nuances of white supremacy. He never even said the word white supremacy. My daddy never mentioned the word white supremacy. Because that's not what it was called. It was never called white supremacy.
But yeah, that was number one thing right there is just being able to get the game from you and be able to maneuver in society. That's why I'm a lot further ahead than a lot of my peers, just because of the gems that you gave me on how to move.
Correct.
Because the things that you taught me about politics relates into business, into life. Because you said, like you said, politics is about life.
Correct.
And everything. So when it comes to business, you got to be about your business, because as we know, America, they writing all types of stuff to control us. So on business, it's all about what's on that paperwork. If it ain't in writing, it ain't happening.
Correct.
And stuff. And unless you're dealing with a real Uncle Tom or like a real person who is honorable, you can't take somebody's word.
Correct.
You gotta have everything in contract and stuff. But yeah, that's all I wanted to end on is like, how well you thought you done with me and stuff, and if I made you proud.
Of course you made me proud. You're my firstborn.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why you tatted on my arm. You the first thing to ever put on. You was always my first.
Yes, sir.
You're my first. So no, I'm extremely proud of you, Playboy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, we're going to end this show in conversation with Pops because we got to go eat. Because the first lady then came in here and already told us that we need to come on and eat. So we're going to end it on that. But I want the rest of the world to know, hey, man, this is my firstborn. This is Pretty Ricky, Cedric Allen, President Turner is his full name.
Like,
This is my firstborn. I'm sorry, man. That's his whole name. He don't want that. I edit that out if he want me to. But I just wanted the world to know, hey, man, this is my firstborn. This is my first love. Everything, which is why it's all on me.
Yes, sir.
So once again, hey, thank you, world, for an episode of Conversation with Pops. I'm your host, Gerald President, a.k.a. Pops. This is my firstborn.
I'm Cedric President, a.k.a. Pretty Ricky.
Peace.
I love you, Pops.
Love you too, boy. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Now,
That was good.
yes, it was. Yeah, and I just wanted you to be better than me. That's all a daddy wants. That's all my daddy ever wanted, was me to be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And he reinforced that in my head over and over and over. He just wanted me to be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And you are better than me. You are a better version of me.
Yes, sir.
And I love that.
Yes, sir.
You're a spitting image of me. You look just like me. Difference is you got a head full of hair. You know, you
Yeah.
got that's why they call you Pretty Ricky. You know, you got you always was pretty. So I didn't have that. But I'm glad that you got all that. And I was glad that I was able to give you that game.
Yes, sir. Because that game is what helped me to even get to the point to where I'm at now.
Correct.
Because I can't run game on me.
You can't. And if they do, I'm going to tell you what, that's your fault.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you, that's your fault.
Yeah.
You remember that conversation we had a couple of weeks ago about your business situation?
Yes, sir.
I said, that's your fault. I said, you didn't have it in the contract.
Yes, sir.
I say, don't get mad at that person. Get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm glad I was able to give you the game on how white supremacy works.
Yes, sir.
Because white supremacy is a mindset.
Yeah.
It's already codified in the legal system, but it's a mindset. And a lot of people have that like, it's going on? Okay. That just that white supremacist mindset. So that's why I told you, hey, it's not that person's fault that you getting less money. It's your fault because it wasn't in contract. And see, that's how the white man did it. The white man used to do that same thing to them Indians, the Native Americans, the indigenous people, and say, hey, he'll sign this treaty. They can't read. They don't know what you're talking about. So you just put any kind of language. And the language say, I'm taking all your land. You can't read, so you sign off on it. Same thing with you.
Yes, sir.
Use your fault because you didn't put the right verbiage in the contract.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's why I say, that's why I love being a daddy, man. Because
But that goes to you to saying you're Uncle Tom versus a sample, because a sample would have just, hey.
Yeah.
But you were like, nah, you kept it all the way real. That's your fault.
Correct.
Next time, don't get mad. Just know how to maneuver the next time it happens. Like, next time you're in that situation, make sure you do it the right way this time. And it's like, good thing I learned early versus with millions of dollars on the table.
Correct. And see, that's why I say fatherhood. See, my daddy gave me the game on black struggle and, Before the Mayflower and all these books he had me reading as a kid. But it helped me because I understood where we coming from would be before the Mayflower. Mm-hmm. But I didn't understand what undergirded this racist system.
Yes,
because
sir.
my daddy wasn't steeped in the nuances of white supremacy. He never even said the word white supremacy. My daddy never mentioned the word white supremacy because that's not what it was called. It was never called white. It was never called white supremacy. Never was. Hopping on, what you want to do?
But yeah, that was number one thing right there is just being able to get the game from you and be able to maneuver in society. That's why I'm a lot further ahead than a lot of my peers, just because of the gems that you gave me on how to move.
Correct.
Because the things that you taught me about politics relates into business, into life. Because you said, like you said, politics is about life.
Correct.
And everything. So when it comes to business, you got to be about your business, because as we know, America, they writing all types of stuff to control us. So on business, it's all about what's on that paperwork. If it ain't in writing, it didn't happen.
Correct.
And stuff. And so, and unless you're dealing with a real Uncle Tom or like a real person who, you know, is honorable, you can't take somebody's word.
Correct.
You gotta have everything in contract and stuff. But yeah, that's all I wanted to end on is, like, you know, how well you thought you done with me and stuff, and if I made you proud.
Of course you made me proud. You're my firstborn.
Yes,
that's
sir.
why you tatted on my arm. You the first thing to ever put on. You was always my first.
Yes, sir.
You're my first. So no, I'm extremely proud of you, Playboy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, we're gonna end this show in conversation with Pops because we got to go eat. Because the first lady then came in here and already told us that we need to come on and eat. So we're going to end it on that. But I want the rest of the world to know, hey, man, this is my firstborn. This is Pretty Ricky, Cedric Allen, President Turner is his full name. This is my firstborn. I'm sorry, that's his whole name. He don't want that. I edit that out if he want me to. But I just wanted the world to know, hey, man, this is my firstborn. This is my first love. Everything, which is why it's all on me.
Yes, sir.
So once again, hey, thank you, world, for an episode of Conversation with Pops. I'm your host, Gerald President, a.k.a. Pops. This is my firstborn.
I'm Cedric President, a.k.a. Pretty Ricky.
Peace.
I love you, Pops.
Love you too, boy. Peace.
Peace.
All right.